I'm calling this fascism, and I think that we need to start using language that actually reflects reality. The definition of fascism, as Benito Mussolini invented the word, it comes from the Latin word fasce, which was the old symbol of the Roman Senate, or of the Roman Empire, actually. Our Senate has engraved in the speaker's podium, as I recall, a fasce, which is a bundle of sticks with a rope around it with a little axe stick stuck in the top. And this was the symbol of the Roman Empire. And the idea was that individual sticks can easily be broken, but if you bundle them together, tie a rope around them, you can't break it. You can't even destroy it with an axe. So fascism is the merger, Mussolini defined it as the merger of corporate and state interests. And in Italy in the 1930s, he dissolved the parliament that had been elected by the people and replaced it with a parliament where the Italian equivalent of a congressional district, each congressional district, instead of sending an elected representative to serve in the Italian parliament, the largest corporation in that district sent a representative to serve in parliament. And the name of the parliament was changed during Mussolini's rule to the Camera de Fascistio Corporaciones, the Chamber of Fascist Corporations. How is what's going on right now any different from that? I mean, it's not quite as blatant, it's not quite as obvious, it's not quite as honest, but as Tolly Rinberg and Andrew Bergman report in today's New York Times in an article titled "Censoring Climate Change," if you search Google for the words climate change a little over 6 months ago, one of the first hits would have been the EPA's website, the Environmental Protection Agency. But that was before April 28th, when the agency began systematically dismantling its climate change website. Now, why would they do this? Well, because some of the biggest funders of the Republican Party are the Koch brothers. Koch Industries is a fossil fuel company, largely. I mean, the Koch brothers, their daddy made all his money in Russia teaching Joe Stalin how to drill for oil, came over here to the United States, came back to the United States, expanded that fortune. Refineries down in Texas, pipelines, they own a good chunk of the Canadian tar sands, et cetera, et cetera. They're fossil fuel billionaires. And their political arm, or one of their many political arms, is called Americans for Prosperity. And this is, well, let me just share with you some pieces from this piece. This is today's New York Times. If you search Google, I mentioned, if you search Google for the words climate change a little over 6 months ago, you would have gotten the EPA before April 28th. If you search those words today, a link to the EPA site may not appear until the second or third results page, and sometimes not even then. The site has fallen in Google's search results because its URL, its address, no longer directs you to a climate change site or even a related page. If you click that link, you'll be redirected to a notice page that says we're currently updating our website to reflect EPA's priorities under the leadership of President Trump and Scott Pruitt. A significant number of pages and PDFs are not available. Entire portions of the sites, like the Student's Guide to Climate Change, have been left out. Now broken links previously led to EPA climate change pages are scattered across federal and non-federal websites. There have been changes to tens of thousands of web pages. It is clear that the administration is intent on making it difficult or impossible to find information on its web pages about climate change. Of all the websites they write in the New York Times today, of all the government websites we've been monitoring, the EPA's has been hit the hardest, I would say, by this fascist administration, an administration that is entirely dancing to the tune of billionaires and the industries that made them rich. Find anything this administration is doing that isn't principally being done for the benefit of billionaires and the corporations that made them rich. I can't think of anything. Terms like, back to the article, terms like greenhouse gas, carbon, and climate change have been replaced by vague descriptors like sustainability and emissions. In addition, web resources about specific regulations, they've disappeared. Talk about censoring the internet. The agency has also removed its website for climate and energy resources for state, local, and tribal governments, eliminating over 200 pages, including almost all of those pertaining to climate change. The State Department removed reports containing required emission projections under an international treaty. The Interior Department removed descriptions of its priorities for tackling climate change. Links to websites hosting climate data were removed from the Maine Department of Energy climate change website. I mean, it's just, this is a horror show. And the other thing about fascism is, you know, hey, it's all about rich people. So you got Senator Rob Portman, the Republican from Ohio, lying in a was it a town hall or was this an interview? Let me track this down. Yeah, it was an interview, a tax reform event hosted by the Koch-funded PAC, Americans for Prosperity. Gee, what a surprise. Rob Portman was asked by a constituent whether the tax bill would impact his Medicare benefits. Here's what Senator Rob Portman said. He said, no, it's a tax reform bill. Well, actually, it is going to impact all of our Medicare benefits and more. And I'll tell you about that after the break. There's this thing called PAYGO that was passed back during the, I believe, during the Bush administration. And I'll describe it to you in just a minute. Stick around.